Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Is it, oh, good. Sometimes these guys, I got all these technicians hanging around here, they're supposed to be taking care of me. What happened? Sound needed. But did we always need sound? Well, there was a whole period of film there where we didn't have sound. Hey, and I said some things there while you couldn't hear me. I better reiterate those things. Hey, folks. At the Movies with Film Brown here. Got a really fun film for you. Well, that's all you missed. Got a really nice film for you in any case that does deal with sound. Historically and thematically. This is a film that has sound as its heart. What film are we talking about? Well, one, let's bring out the name of the man who directed this film, who conceived this film, who worked on the screenplay for this film, Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, we love it when Alfred Hitchcock comes on our show. He is a remarkable talent. Now, this is in his British period. And I'm giving little clues. You might be thinking, gosh, Phil, cut to the chase here. Which one is it? Well, I'll tell you here. This is his first sound film. First sound film. It's actually advertised as the first British sound film. 1929. Well, in 1929, things are very much in a liminal state in regards to the transition from the silent to the sound industry. And what that meant is that there were debates going on, which kind of system were we going to use? We're going to use sound on disc, or are we going to use sound on film? Which companies are we going to hook up with? RCA, Western Electric, folks like that. And who's going to be doing, controlling how the theaters are going to be all switched over? Can you expect all theaters to be switched over to sound? Which was an issue. Likewise, getting the sound technology into the studios. Not as easy as all get out. Matter of fact, Hitchcock, prior to this in the silent era, had really mastered the silent vocabulary. And all of a sudden, sound comes along with microphones hanging down in your face, or microphones planted around and things like that. You got a camera that's got to be pretty well planted, not like our smoky scope here where the camera moves around. But we really have to kind of lock things down. Now, Hitchcock came with this film, Blackmail. It was conceived as a silent film, and then all of a sudden it was sort of kicked into the idea, let's make it into a talkie. Now, Hitchcock created two versions of this film. One, a silent version, and one, the sound version. We have the sound version for you tonight. And it's a remarkable little film. Now you'd think, Hitchcock coming in, and he'd seen all of those, maybe those all talking, all dancing, all singing type of musicals that were very popular in this early type of sound, thinking, he's going to come in with sound gangbusters at you. Well, the first reel of this film pretty much starts like a standard silent film. Matter of fact, takes its sort of its cue right out of Fritz Lang's Dr. Mabuse type of mysteries, where you've got police investigations going on. You got these police who are looking out for this killer. And really runs like a regular standard silent film. Sound effects are appended. There is some music that's put there. But you kind of hang on there, and all of a sudden, you start hearing people talking. And the film really then dives into its sound manipulations. The story of this film is don't want to go into it too deeply. It's a story about a woman who has a relationship with a cop who goes out on the side with an artist, and, dastardly deeds are done, which leads to some blackmail situations. And that's kind of a cool thing of how that works out. But Hitchcock, in his use of sound, very novel. Even today, we would consider a lot of the things that he's doing with sound rather interesting and rather, revolutionary. There's a great scene in there where, for instance, our main character, Alice White, is sitting at a table and she's hearing gossip. Okay, this is just after she has, I'm not going to give too much away, but this part I do have to give away. She kills an individual with a knife. And there's this gossip conversation going on, and they're talking about the crime that they've read about in the newspaper. And the word knife is repeated over and over again in the little gossip circles that's going on here. And what Hitchcock does is, as the conversation continues, he starts bringing down the sound of every other word except for when the word knife is said. And then the word knife, knife, knife gets repeated over and over again. Rather expressionistic use of sound. Wouldn't you agree? it kind of harkens back to is just after she has killed the individual, she leaves the flat, and as she's walking home, and this really kind of smacks of more of the silent tradition, everywhere she goes, she sees images of knife-like structures in people's hands, in advertising, in windows and things like that, stabbing out and things. So there's the emphasis of the knife. Likewise, how the blackmail shenanigans begins is all an aspect of playing cleverly with sound. So I'm not going to go into that because that goes too deep into what this thing is all about. So those novel uses of sound is something that you should really look for. The end of this film, really nice as well. Takes place in the British Museum, and a lot of action and some fun stuff. I really enjoyed this film. The film has some interesting people who are working on it, not just Alfred Hitchcock, but I was just looking through the credits here, and there are two individuals here that we probably should mention. Michael Powell worked uncredited as on the screenplay. Michael Powell, you might remember as, well, later on, he's going to be a very important part of the British film industry, doing The Red Shoes, The Stairway to Heaven, and my favorite, Peeping Tom. Another individual who works on this film, Ronald Neame. Now, Ronald Neame, again, now if you look at the credits of a film at this time, they're not going to list everybody. This is before union regulations dictated that everybody down to the man who ate a sandwich on the left-hand side of, off camera had to have some kind of credit going to him. But in these days and age, yeah, you're lucky if you get the director, okay, listed, and a title, and a couple of the big stars. But Ronald Neame works on this film. Ronald Neame is later going to become, well, a pretty good director. He did one of my favorite films, Poseidon Adventure. You know, I like Poseidon Adventure. I love Shelley Winters when she gets has to swim underwater there and then has to die of a heart attack. Oh, sad, very sad. But he came up working as a cameraman for David Lean, and then goes into making features on his own. Blackmail. Hitchcock had a soft spot for this film, and I could see why. When you're trying something new, and it's for the first time, that first time always seems novel and, well, fantastic, full of phenomenal feelings. Once you've done it a number of times, and you take sound for granted, right, then it might not seem so special. Doesn't mean that you might not still be doing some really great things with sound. But the first time that you do it, it's like, wow, look what we have done. Blackmail, 1929.